2, 3, 4.
Well, we're here. We made it.
Just about.
Just barely. It's been a bit of a couple of mornings. Our cat Steve has been pretty sick, so he's been waking us up all hours of the night, which therefore makes it a little harder to get up in the morning.
He's a senior gentleman. He's having some senior gentleman problems.
He is having old man problems, and
Yeah.
you know, this is our life. We have to deal with that.
Talking of horror stories.
Right? There she goes.
Heyo. We are at number 5.
Entering the top 5.
Well, are we entering?
Yeah, let's just say we are.
Okay. We're at number 6, but the 5th one that we've done, and that's the trouble with counting up and down at the same time. Of the Entertainment Weekly top cult movies. We have done Shawshank Redemption, we've done Blade Runner, we have done Scarface, and we've done Repo Man, and now we have watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The original, was it 1974?
Yeah.
1974 version, because there have been countless remakes and sequels and prequels and whatever.
Confusingly, if you're trying to find it on Vudu, it says it's from 2014 because that's when they remastered it.
Yes, which is the version that we watched, which, you know, we talked a little bit about this. And, you know, if you've seen the movie, you know that part of why it's kind of so beloved is because of the super shitty film quality. I've always loved that about it, the like very dusty like home video footage kind of feel. The remastered version looked great. Everything was super clear, and we both picked up on details that we hadn't noticed before. But the fact that it was like so crisp and the colors were so saturated, I found it a little less charming.
Yeah, Crystal found that a problem. I didn't mind it. I was really enjoying seeing, like, I hadn't seen this movie for a solid 15 years.
Yeah, it's been quite a few years since I have seen it as well.
So there were things that I straight up had forgotten anyway. So whether the details that I felt like I was seeing, I had just forgotten.
Yeah.
It's things like when they're sat around the dinner table, Leatherface has makeup on.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were saying, like, at the end, when the truck drives off the girl in the back, you could actually see the driver.
Right, because I had always thought, like, there are a lot of unresolved things about this movie, which is part of what makes it great. But I had either misremembered or just generally distrusted the ending, where I thought, you know, she gets in the truck and she drives away, but does she really get away? You know, it always seemed like a little bit of an open-ended ending.
Yeah, okay, let's
start from the beginning.
Yeah. we jumped in on the end there.
Spoiler alert.
So, yes, in 1974, it was made on a budget of like less than $100,000.
Say like $50.
$50. It was made for more money than Evil Dead was, I think, or a similar budget.
There are arguably more special effects in the Evil Dead than there are in Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, they may have blown the whole budget on like Grandpa.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So it was made for next to nothing, and then and it did really, really well. It got banned a few places for, I guess, gore. By today's standards, it's not that gory. Which says more about today's standards, honestly.
Right.
But and I'm gonna get into this on Thursday because I need to do a bit of research. But I'm pretty sure that it was banned in the UK. I think it got caught up in all of the video nasties legislation, which I will double check on before I launch into. But yeah. So if you haven't seen it, you should go see it.
Especially now that we are entering official spooky season.
It is spooky season.
Yeah.
It's basically a group of kids. How old do you think they're supposed to be? like college
age, yeah.
kids. I had forgotten that there's any reason given for them being there. Why they're there is that there's a graveyard where a bunch of graves have been robbed, and somebody's made like these insane, like ostensibly sculptures out of dead bodies, and their grandpa is in the graveyard, or two of them have a grandpa in the graveyard. So they're going to see if grandpa's had his grave robbed. Which I totally
me too. I never really put that together, and I don't think so. Even though the version we watched was like a remastered version, I don't think it was like a director's cut or anything.
No, I think that it was probably in.
Yeah,
I just did not remember it.
Did not remember it at all. But there were a lot of plot points that I didn't necessarily remember about the movie, and just kind of took it for what it was. But after like watching it from front to back and actually paying attention, some of those points made a lot of connections and made the movie make a lot more sense.
It's much more like deliberately sewn together.
It's a lot more thought through.
I mean, considering like a contemporary, although slightly later, would be Evil Dead. And Evil Dead's just like, a bunch of people go to a cabin and it's like cursed or some shit, and then everyone gets killed.
Yep.
It's basically
that's
the plot of the movie. Whereas this one's like, that happens, and then they decide to go find the ruins of their grandpa's house.
Mm-hmm.
They pick up a hitchhiker briefly who's completely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to grandpa's house. They mess around there for a little bit. They need gas. So they wander down to the next house because they're running a generator, so they must have gas, to see if they can buy some gas from them. And that house turns out to be owned by this family of crazy cannibal, slaughterhouse-loving whatevers.
Yeah. I mean, and the whole like slaughterhouse theme running through the movie is also something I didn't pick up on before, because they're at the beginning of the movie when they're all in the van, they're driving through and they're like, oh my god, what's that smell? That's terrible. And they're like, oh, it's the slaughterhouse. And there's like all the shots of the like cows in the yard and like all the meat hooks and all of the different, and they like go on at length talking about how the different ways that they kill the cows at the slaughterhouse. And then they end up at the gas station who turns out to be like the father of this strange family.
I think he's supposed to be the father. I don't know.
Who was running a gas station / barbecue, which, related to the slaughterhouse antics of this entire family. There were just a lot of like these small red flags that I didn't pick up on when I had first watched the movie, but when we watched it the other day, we were talking to, I was kind of saying like, for a movie that is considered like one of the biggest horror movies of all time, nothing really happens until about midway through. Like it doesn't get scary, but there are these like little
there's actual plots.
There are like these little like kind of subtle plot points throughout the whole first half of the movie, and the movie is only like 80 minutes long.
Yeah, which
it is a very
that is the length that movie should be.
It's perfect. But once it gets going, it really gets going, and like the slower build. It is a slow build, but it's not like so slow that you feel like holy shit. When's this movie gonna start?
It doesn't feel like there's certain films that deliver, like The Shining. Nothing happens for half of the movie, but also like his way of trying to establish that it's creepy is that everything happens really slowly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really like that. But
there's just like this like tension kind of bubbling under the surface of the whole movie where things keep almost going wrong and then they really fucking go wrong. Which is part of why I love like Leatherface's first appearance so much. I've always thought it's one of the most like brilliant introductions to a villain in a movie, because you're like so kind of on the edge of terrible things happening, and these kids are making terrible decisions.
Don't go in a stranger's house.
Just
as a basic level, just don't go in a stranger's house.
They're
gonna all still be alive.
That should be obvious, but apparently it's not. So, the one, is Jerry, is he the first one to go? No, Jerry goes to look for them. It's the two.
He's called like Tex or it's like a one syllable.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so he ends up in the house poking around where he shouldn't be anyways, and then just like Leatherface just comes bombing out of that back room, hits him in the head with the hammer, and it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. He just drags him out and it's done. It's like, what the hell
Well, it's exactly what they described
so
with
good.
the cows, because he
Right.
hits him once and then he's like flailing around.
Yeah.
Then he hits him again.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they've been describing the good old days of slaughtering cows.
Yeah, which was, to like be able to look back at it and put all those pieces together and kind of, instead of just like watching it for the big scenes was really interesting, and it definitely gave me I already loved this movie, but like I appreciate it a little bit more after having watched it.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, this is a fucking great movie.
It's a great movie.
I don't know if we've talked about that enough.
Yeah, let's just say it
It's
for the record.
genuinely a great movie. It's scary. It's funny.
It's weirdly funny. Yeah, there's this balance.
I mean, there's this like we were talking last night about Leatherface, and I like this has always been my take. It's just that like he's of all of them, he's like the weirdly like sympathetic of the killers.
Yeah,
like,
somehow
he does all of the murdering. I don't think anyone else kills anyone, but he's really like he's desperately just trying to keep house.
Yeah.
He cooks them dinner. When he cooks them dinner, which is the bit where I'd never noticed he's wearing makeup, he like dresses kind of as a lady.
Yeah, he like dresses for dinner.
And he's non-verbal, but he makes these weird noises, and when he was dressed as a lady, he was doing them higher.
Yeah, he was doing the lady voice.
And like, after he kills the third kid, and he just sits down and is just like, oh, when will this end?
Yeah, so exasperated. Yeah, because he is more of the in like that family, because there's like essentially two families in this movie. There's the kids, and then there's like Leatherface in that family. And we were saying how like in the family of kids in the van, how Franklin is kind of like the emotional center of that group.
Yeah, when I watched it as like a teen, I found Franklin so annoying. And he is annoying, but he's also
not wrong.
He's right about a lot of things. They would do well to listen to Franklin occasionally. And also they did just like ditch him at Grandpa's house so they could all go have sex with each other, basically.
Really rude.
Although I don't think anyone actually had sex in this movie.
Which is a rarity for a horror film.
Yeah, I think it's before that trope existed.
Which is because so many, we were talking about how it seems like so many of the classic horror film tropes of what not to do are in this film.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of them got cemented by Halloween.
Mm.
Like, certainly in Halloween, people have sex and then they die.
Yeah.
The only person that doesn't have sex makes it to the end of the movie.
Right.
And there's a lot of Halloween, there's a lot of running inside when you do better to run outside.
Right.
But there was a lot of like, oh my God, don't go in there.
Yeah.
Don't go in there. And when she is running away from Leatherface and she won't stop screaming.
Yeah, the screaming.
They are in the woods at night. If she was quiet, he's waving
He's
a
got a
chainsaw
chainsaw.
around. He can't hear shit.
Yeah.
He can't see her, although she is wearing white pants. So
Yeah,
she is,
I like bell bottoms and clogs.
but it's
She's not
not.
getting far.
It's not like it's like lit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
She
you
could have
couldn't
just
see
like
her,
shut up and hunkered down, and you would have never found her.
but she's just like hysterically screaming. And that was another thing we were talking about yesterday, is that like that character Sally is ostensibly the hero in that she's the one that makes it to the end. But she has next to no lines.
Yeah.
She doesn't talk very much at all at the beginning. Like, I guess there's that scene with her and Franklin where he's trying to make her stay with the van.
Right.
Which if they had done, they probably
they would have
lived.
She's just pouting about the flashlight. We should play the song soon.
Okay. And then she just goes and gets chased around screaming. Doesn't really have any lines apart from "Please don't kill me."
Yeah.
And then
She's like mostly screaming and whimpering.
Yeah. We'll talk on this more on Thursday. We started late, so we have to get
Yeah.
So we're going to play our song, Creatures of the Night, because it's kind of spooky.
Through the wall.
Through the wall. Because it's kind of spooky.
But yeah, we will be back to talk more. I think we'll play our original song.
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit more about, I think, the horror film tropes and its history as a cult movie, and maybe go into a little bit more about this whole two families idea. And I don't know.
We'll work it out.
Tune in. You'll see.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Should we just start together for the sake of? I wanna see you. I know you wanted to. I wanna see you. I know you wanted to. Don't wanna hear you through the wall no more. Boy, I can feel you. I know you wanted to. Boy, I can feel you. I know you wanted to. Don't wanna hear you through the wall no more. People say that I don't know what I'm feeling. People say that you're only in my head. But I know what I hear. I can hear you breathing. Every time I turn my face to the wall in my Boy, I can hear you. 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 Yeah. All right. See you in a few days. Bye.